We all lead busy lives, but if we could just stop everything and take a bird's eye view, a little higher, there, now we can see the multitudes. We are fueled by a shared vision to bring the name of Christ to those who have yet to hear. So we move forward to extreme places, corners of the world that have no access to the gospel. We train missionaries, send them out together, and pray that God's grace be known. We help the hurting, comfort the dying, give hope to the displaced, and have seen thousands come to faith in Christ. We are able to do so much more together than if we were chasing this vision alone. This is our common effort. Together.
All right, viewers. My name is Amos, and happy Independence, Nigeria. This afternoon, I know it's evening in our context back in Nigeria. It should be 5 o'clock now or after 5. We are here with my friends and my colleagues to have a discussion about the state of our nation at 61. So Nigeria is 61 years of independence today, and we are going to look into our nation at 61, and just kind of just reflect on historically some of the things that our nation have been through, and where we are at now, and then we would declare our wishes for our nation, Nigeria, the things that we hope to see happen, the things that we are praying to see happen in our nation. And so with me this afternoon or evening, depending on your location, is my brother and my friend Cephas Bahago, who would be here. Hey, Cephas, do you want to introduce yourself and just go ahead and say hello to people?
Hello, my name is so back home I'm popularly known as Kefas, but right here it's always Cephas for the sake of the spelling. And I am a student of the Southern Baptist, the prestigious Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, and I just arrived here some few weeks ago, and I bless God for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you, brother, for joining. We really appreciate this that you are here with us and that you have accepted so we can have a discussion about the state of our nation at 61 year of independence. And again, we have our brother and our friend Isaac Badibo, who is here with us. Hey, Isaac, would you go ahead and introduce yourself and just say hello to our viewers? No, I'm not sure we're hearing you yet.
No, hello. I'm not sure we're hearing you yet. Hello, viewers. My name is Isaac Badibo. I'm also a student of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary here, and I studied global missions here. I also serve as a pastor at Forest Park Community Church. I serve as the youth pastor there, and I can also say I'm a businessman.
All right, thank you, Isaac. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, so I believe that our discussion this afternoon or evening
I believe that our discussion this afternoon or evening
will be a very fruitful one. So and again we have our brother Jerry. Jerry Swamp City is here with us.
So and again we have our brother Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry, would you go ahead and introduce yourself and just say hello to our viewers?
So my name is Jerry Swamsidi, and a diehard Nigerian, but currently based here in the states, in the state of Tennessee. Grateful to be a student also at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. And I apologize, I'm actually on the road, so I had to pull over somewhere else so we can have this meeting, because I have another meeting at church, and I'm also serving here at the First Presbyterian Church of Bristol, Tennessee. I'm the Director of Contemporary Worship and also the Campus Mission Evangelist at King University. Glad to be here, and I'm honored to be a part of this meeting today.
Yeah. All right. I'm so glad that you guys have accepted so we can just spend a little time to talk about the state of our nation. And I would request that maybe if you are not actually talking, maybe you can kind of mute just so that we would avoid echoes and allow our hearers or our viewers to be able to hear our discussion clearly. So, Nigeria, 1960, in the 1st of October 1960, Nigeria got her independence, right? I mean, this has been what we have been singing even in our, primary schools, what they call elementary schools here. And then even in our, high schools, we do sing that. The 1st of October 1960, Nigeria got her independence. And, the popular national anthem. Now, it used to be the two that we sing most of the time. Arise, O compatriot, and then, O God of creation. And I love the other one, the O God of creation, direct our noble paths. Just listening to the second one, O God of creation, direct our noble path, and even the Arise, O compatriot. If you follow the lyrics of our national anthem, then you would know that Nigeria is wishing Nigeria, or Nigerians are wishing Nigeria to be a nation that will be blessed, a nation that will be prosperous, a place where people would dwell in and enjoy life with one another. All right, and so that has been the wish, that has been the prayer, that has been the aspiration of every Nigerian. All right, so we began 1st October 1960, and today is 61 years of that independence. Now, I would love to hear your views, right? I mean, you can take us back memory lane if you want, but just, concisely share with us what is the state of our nation. And, we can kind of look at that in different areas. I mean, we can look at it because basically what we are doing, it's we are having a Christian discussion. All right. So this discussion is from a Christian perspective. And so we might have to look at Nigeria as a nation, but you can feel free to look at the different aspect of our nation. Now you can look at commerce, you can look at infrastructure, you can decide to look at religion, and you can look at governance, in the whatever aspect that you feel you want our viewers to actually hear about your views on it. Feel free to kind of come up with that and then make your points clear. Our desire is that as we kind of reflect on the state of our nation, we would transition to begin to talk about our hopes and our prayers, our desires, things we want to see happen, and how, if possible, how do we want those things to happen? So I would want to begin with my brother Jerry. So Jerry, feel free to kind of share with our viewers, what do you think about the state of the nation?
Well, I think the state of the nation is, 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 is,
What do you think about the state of the nation?
I just remembered I have to unmute myself.
Yeah.
Well, happy independence, first of all, to our great and dear nation, Nigeria. Unfortunately, we really don't have anything to celebrate when we look back at Nigeria, and specifically to the issues of insecurity and how the church has been persecuted lately. It is a sad event that the world is seeing, because people from around the world are seeing how much the church has been persecuted, or Christians have been killed for their faith, in a nation where we have coexisted with people who are Muslims or those who are from the African traditional religion, and have tried as much as we can to be members of one nation called Nigeria. From 61 years ago, when we gained our independence from the British, we have seen nothing but chaos and a failed system. And I make bold to say that it is sad that our nation has been stagnant. We have not seen progress. We have not seen development. And even though development has actually come to us through democracy, like we have said, but all we have seen this past few years is corrupt leaders who are only concerned about themselves and their families, and how we have also seen how money has been siphoned from people who are supposed to be elected leaders to defend the cause of the people in that nation. Sad to say, we live in a country, or we come from a country that is considered as one of the most corrupt nations in the world. As a matter of fact, I don't know where our ranking is right now when it comes to corruption or when it comes to crime. There's no country in the world that is not corrupt. There's no country in the world that doesn't have crime. But we have seen a takeover in terms of corruption, and it has actually trickled down from the top to the bottom, where leaders have failed in their responsibility to lead this nation where God had predestined for us to be. We have seen our brothers and sisters being killed. We've seen people who are being, taken away from their rights, their human rights being taken away from them, because we don't have a system that is working. So my desire is that we would have a people who are called to action. It is not time to pray anymore. I know we've prayed, and believers all over the world may say, okay, we need to pray. Yeah, I know there's power in prayer, and I'm a firm believer of prayer. But the call now for Nigeria at 61 is a call for action. And when I mean a call of action, I mean people should go back to the place where we go back to the drawing board and call our leaders to account. Those who we've put in elected positions or leadership positions, to take action. And I believe that will be the beginning of a great revitalization for us as a nation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate just your view about the state of our nation. And let me allow Cephas to kind of share his own view about the state of our nation. Hey, Cephas. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself here.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, live. Yep.
Okay, so great. Happy independence to all Nigerians. Our hearts are filled with gratitude to God because of the blessing of being a Nigerian. And for us, it's a blessing to be Nigerian. One of our rituals in our family is the ritual of singing the national anthem. And when we are done with and we sing the national anthem, we have always done this even before the independence. and our kids learned to sing the national anthem even before they started going to school. And this is because we believe that as people, the Lord has allowed us to be Nigerians, and it is a blessing, and we're proud to be Nigerian. And wherever we are, whatever we do, Nigerians, and what we have turned out to be is our country can never be removed from the story of our lives. So I am proud to be a Nigerian, so I will continue to say happy independence. We are happy people, and we will continue to be happy people. So the journey so far, truthfully, has not been a good journey. I am not very old. I'm still a young man, but then I can still trace, even in my lifetime, some retrogression that has happened in the history of our nation. And some of the good things we used to enjoy, I mean, just in very recent history, we know that some of the good things we used to enjoy are no longer there. We no longer enjoy such things because the system has continued to spiral downwardly to the level that Nigerians are no longer thriving. I mean, evidence of such is seen in the popular trending story right now in Japa that you see on Twitter. Like, it is the top trending thing now. Everybody is Japaing, and I mean, everybody is leaving the nation. Young people are leaving the nation, which is just as a result of this downgrade, this downward movement of our nation. And in what ways do we see that? For example, in the areas of the economy, we know that back then the Nigerian economy was very strong. Even as recent as 6 years, 7 years ago, where we used to be the fastest growing economy in Africa, and in fact the best economy in Africa. And we were amongst the top 20 fastest growing economies in the world. And everybody was rushing to come to Nigeria to do business. Right now, that story is different. In fact, even the small and medium scale industries in our nations are now dying. It is almost suicide for you to buy things from a small scale business person, because they find it very hard to produce, they find it very hard to process and to market, and their goods will be much more expensive. I have a banker friend who said, well, businesses are not growing anymore because banks no longer give loans to people because they are afraid. They are afraid the business might crash because prices just keep going up. There was a time that the dollar was not even as strong as the naira, but we just see how things just kept going bad and just going under the drain. Talk about the loss of religious liberty in our nation. It is very normal. It used to be very normal for everybody to practice their religion. Right now, if you look at the way people are being killed, Christians are being killed because of their faith, in our nation, Nigeria, of course, and many and other people are being killed. We have to talk about that, are being killed, and nothing is happening. It's like progressively there is a lack of conscience regarding the life of humans. I mean, I used to think that I had a small idea of how much valueless the Nigerian life is until I moved to the States a few weeks ago. And I saw how much human life is valued here. And my daughter said something. She said, people in this place like people more than Nigerians like people. She is just 6 years old and she could figure the difference out. But right now, Nigerians are killed on the streets and nobody will do anything. I remember some few weeks ago, the whole US government sent uh, the special forces to rescue a single American that was in captivity. Nigerian children will be in captivity for weeks and months, and the government cannot do anything about it. We will have a kidnapping of hundreds of children, and while we are still mourning it, another 100 will be taken. While we are still mourning it, so there is a consistent cheapening of Nigerian life, which is a fundamental problem. It is even a bigger problem than the economy. Take, for example, the lack of peace and unity. When I was in secondary school, the only road I knew to terminus in Jos was the Angwarogo Road. In fact, in secondary school from Feringada roundabout, if I stop a cab and I tell the cab to take me to terminus, and he says he's going through Tafawa Balewa or Standard or those roads, I tell them no, because the only road I knew to take was the Angwanrogo Road, and the cab will go through Angwanrogo and drive right in the middle of Angwanrogo, right into Bauchi Road, you know, and to terminus. Right now, maybe in the past 15 years, I have only used that road once. And the first time I used that road after 10 years or something like that, I was texting my friends to tell my friends, hey, I am using the Angwanrogo Road. And it was so saddening because there was a time that we enjoyed this freedom of movement because nobody would kill you because you're a Christian or you're a Muslim or something like that. There was that sense of humanity that existed amongst all of us. But right now, the polarization that has happened in our nation is there are parts that, you know, of this nation that if you are a Christian, you cannot go to. If you're a Muslim, you cannot go to. So you see that collectively there is a poor sense of even humanity, our Christian values, you know, are being lost, and even our religious values are being lost, that collectively as a nation, the value for each other, the value for our nation is dying. So it may look like when we talk about the problems, we are only talking about the nation, the leaders of our nation, but even as citizens, you see that we are losing a lot of things that allow us to be good Nigerians, like the loss of value for human life, that sense of disunity, you know, is continually there. So have we grown a little bit, but are we where we should be? I don't think so. Our nation is declining.
Oh man, Cephas, thank you so much for sharing your view about the state of our nation. I mean, nation at 61. I feel like, you know, Nigeria, it's old enough to be a prosperous country, you know, and, you know, when I look at the Bible, you know, one thing that came to my mind is, you know, Acts chapter 17, where Paul talked about the fact that from one man, God made every nationality to live over the whole earth. And this is what Paul says, and that God has determined the appointed times and the boundaries of where they live. Isn't that interesting? That you guys and I are not Nigerians by mistake or accident, but that God is the one who made it that way. And so that he has done it that way is for a reason. I mean, if you go further to verse 27, you hear Paul saying, he did this so that they might seek God. And, you know, and perhaps they might reach out and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. Of course, Paul was referring to a particular context, but I mean, we can bring this into our context and look at that, right? That even in our context, we have different religions in our context, right? And but the ultimate desire of God is that these people that He has orchestrated to be in this particular place at this time, determine their boundary, is so that they might seek me and find me. That's ultimate, right? And so all of us as Nigerians, I don't think anyone should just come out and say, well, oh man, God, why did you even make me a Nigeria? I mean, this is not, right on all of that. No. I mean, we have to accept that fact. Okay, so, but that God has destined that we would be in a place like this where we find ourselves, and to be able to engage in discussion. I'm going to come to Isaac very soon so that he would, air his own view about the state of our nation. But that we would be in such a place, and that we should be able to engage in having a continuous interaction about the state of our nation. This is very important. And, boy, oh boy, if you look back, and see what has been. Now, I remember those days that, we were young, and then we had a lot of Indians in our nation. Now, I remember those days that we were young, we had all over Ghanaians in our nation. I mean, talk about it. Even other Africans, you see them in our nation. But you begin to wonder what is really going on. Now, okay, let's hear Isaac. Yeah. Hey, brother, go ahead and share with us your view.
I want to join other speakers by saying happy independence to every one of us, irrespective of what is happening currently in our nation. We still have hope, and we still have some things to be happy about. Like you said, the first thing is that we are Christians, and God has created us to be Nigerians, for a purpose. First thing I want to say is that Nigeria is the largest black community in the world. Nigeria has the highest population in Africa. So when you look at it invariably, in the whole world, I think Nigeria is the 7th most populous nation in the world. Then why are we, in this mess? It's very simple. Leadership. We have been led by bad, callous leaders, in the years past. I was discussing with my dad sometimes ago, and he told me that in those days, when they go to other countries to go and study, they have to go back to Nigeria because Nigeria is better for them than other countries where they go to study. Either the UK, the US, or any country, name it. Nigeria was prosperous at that time. Unfortunately, we started having leaders who are after their own selfish gain, their own personal aggrandizement, and before you know it, they turn the whole system down. They spoil the whole country. Sharing with somebody that even the democracy that we are saying we have now is even worse than when we are under the military regime. We're in a situation right now whereby even our leaders, they don't know the next thing to do. What they do now is trial and error. We are in a autopilot. They don't know what to do. If you look at the business arena, the CBN president will come today and say, okay, this is what people should do. By the time we do this, things are going to work. Our economy will work better. But before you know it, they are still going to reverse the whole thing. And, we're going to start over and over again. So we don't have a system that is working in Nigeria, and that is why we're in this mess. And before you even talk about, business, before you talk about religion, you have to talk about first. It is when people are alive that they're going to go to church. It is when people are alive that they're going to worship God. It is when they are alive that they are going to do business. But when there is no security, then I think we're inviting a state of anarchy in Nigeria if you look at what is happening now. And I get what our leaders are doing. What they are doing is they are trying to, divide us. They are trying to divide the populace so that we are not going to fight for right. And that was what Pastor Sadie was saying the other time. If we are going to be proactive, how are we? What they are after is their own personal interest, at heart. It bleeds my heart when I see that in Nigeria today, you have people, even the people in Nigeria, the stress of staying in Nigeria alone is enough for them to be sick. The stress of staying in Nigeria is enough for people to have high blood pressure in our country today. Because we are in a situation whereby people cannot, they know that their future is not guaranteed. Not to talk of the future of their kids, not to talk of the future of their children. And that is why people are also stealing, because they know that they don't know what will become of Nigeria tomorrow. And unless, like he said, we go back to the drawing board and we analyze where we've missed it, I think we continue to linger in this kind of situation. It's more about our system, it's more about our mentality, it's more about about what we see around us, and that is what is forming our character in Nigeria. And I think it's high time, as Christians, as Muslims, every religion should come together and look at where we've missed it. Our moral values, we've lost everything. When I was growing up, a parent will not celebrate you, maybe because if you get a good car, maybe you get a good house, maybe you get anything special, they're not going to celebrate you. They're not even take it to the community, because they know that it's not what you are doing. What you are doing is not commensurate to what you have. At that time, it's all about our moral, our ethics was so good to the extent that you want to protect the good name of your family. But today, you see a lot of guys, they want to cut corners, and their parents, the community, is celebrating them. Look at what we have on our social media. Look at what we have on our media houses. We celebrate mediocrity. What we celebrate today doesn't make sense. And that is why we are progressing. That is why we are not moving forward. How will you tell me that you have a first-class product in the seminary or in the university, and the only thing you can give that first-class product is 10,000 naira? And if it is other things, about things that doesn't make sense, that is when you see our government donating money to things that doesn't make sense. And that is what is making the youth not to have a direction. That, okay, if you think you are not favoring people that are going to school, you are not keen about education, you are not keen about moral standard, then we want to go into the direction whereby we know that would get us more money, and before you know it, there are no morals again. And that's why everybody wants to get money at all costs. Even in the church of God, people want to get money at all costs. They want to grab money at all costs, because the church itself is even celebrating people that get money. The church, like I tell people, is the society covered that the way they think, the way they run the affairs of a nation. They don't understand. They don't know what it takes to be leaders. They are leaders they are opportunists. They are not people that are supposed to be our leaders. And it breaks my heart, because we have the resources, we have everything needed to make our country great. Unfortunately, we're in this mess. I pray the Lord would help Nigeria. And one thing I know, like the Bible says, is that righteousness exalts a nation, and sin, is always a reproach to any nation that turn their back away.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brother Isaac. So the thing is, you actually touch some points there. I get bothered sometimes when I think about how blessed Nigeria is with all of the resources that the Lord Himself has put there. Okay, and yet we cannot manage all of these resources. I tell you, just to agree with you in one of your points, that Nigeria has all it takes for Nigerians to live in there and still enjoy life. Now, the inside of Nigeria, the inside of it is embedded with so much across all the geographical regions. Now, go a little bit back and look at the resources that we have. Now, don't even talk about oil, the other resources. Now, in Kaduna alone, where I come from, we have a lot of textile industries that are completely closed down and dead. They are dead because they are not functional. Now, once upon a time in history, we were farming cotton. I mean, you go through the north, you see cotton all over. How about the granite pyramid in Kano? Now you begin to ask yourself a question: where did we really miss it? So I mean, there's no any debate about the inside of Nigeria, because the inside of Nigeria truly is loaded, is blessed. But the problem is the outside of Nigeria. What we see outside of it, it's a lot of corruption, like some of you have said. It's a lot of you see bigotry, you see sectionalism, you see religious extremism in the outside of Nigeria. You see terrorism. You see no respect and value for human life, even though we have that shared humanness in all of us, that each and every one of us is supposed to have respect for the other person, because all of us are created in the image and the likeness of God. But you don't see that in the outside of Nigeria. And until we get it right, we would always miss it. You see, the thing is that, do we have patriots today in our country? That it seems to me that we have more of traitors, people who don't have the nation at heart, people who would tap from that blessing of the nation and check out of the nation without sacrificing to build the nation. And so, I mean, you guys, we are in a different nation where you see people who are patriotic about their nation, right? They can make investment just for others to enjoy in the nation. They can sacrifice all for the nation. But we hardly would see that. I'm not ruling out totally from Nigerians, but we could have one or two who are truly patriots, right, in our nation. But do we really see that? All right, so I want to welcome my brother Ali. He just joined us a couple of minutes ago. Ali, do you want to say hello to our viewers and then kind of introduce yourself? Then we would now you can share with us a little bit about your view about the state of our nation, briefly, please, and then we will transition to talk about the way forward. You guys should think about the way forward in our nation. What would be the role of the church in building that nation, in making changes in our nation? What would be the role of the government? What would be the role of even Nigerians as citizens? All right, let's talk about that, and politicians also. Yeah. Go ahead, Ali. Yep, we're not hearing you. Would you mind to unmute? Yeah. Unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, hello viewers and my colleagues on the panel this time, and thank you also the host for inviting me to share some of my thoughts regarding the state of our nation. I'm Ali Mati. I'm a student at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary here in Kentucky. Yeah, I think that suffices. So I know you guys have said a lot. I just came in late. I apologize. Um, well, I would just want to just kind of give a biblical, view of what perhaps you guys have discussed, since I'm conversant with the narrative of the situation in our country. I came in, I heard what my brother Isaac was saying in regard to insecurity, corruption, and unfaithfulness, religious extremism, and so much that has to do with lack of respect to human life and dignity of labor also is an issue, So coming from Luke, at Romans chapter 1, Paul said that all that needs to be known about God has been made known to human being. But because of rebellion that is in the hearts of human being, human nature has suppressed the truth of God. So I think for me, what I'm seeing in Nigeria is suppression of truth. It's what I will describe the state of our nation. And when I talk about suppression of truth, we kind of, in the public arena, we are very religious. I think I was discussing with either my brother Amos or I heard it in a seminar. After Saudi Arabia, Nigeria is the most religious nation on earth. And despite that, you just see that both religions, Islam and Christianity, do not appropriate or take a leverage what their religion talk about when it comes to national development, which of course maybe we'll say it boils down to ideologies that have affected us. So, but for me, I see that as suppression of truth from Nigerians. The truth of who God is, and the truth of God who created us to be, and the truth of how God intend that we should live as brothers and sisters, looking at ourselves as as human beings. So unless that is kind of dealt with, like the nation where we are today, the foundation, of course, was built on the truth of who God is. Despite there are some, lapses there and here and there, but you could still have that sense of this great foundation that a nation like this, had. And you might say, well, there are other nations who do not project religion, but yet you find them they have respect for national values. Of course, we'll see that, as someone say, all truth are God's truth, no matter where we find it. So those nations who do not have religion at perhaps in the core of their existence, yet they live and they are able to thrive, they are able to flourish, is because they appropriate those biblical values that are universal based on God's providence, and that's how they are able to thrive. So for me, I will just stop by saying the major challenge that led to our nation to where we are is suppression of truth. And unless truth is not suppressed, I don't see us making a headway as a country. So I will stop here so that others could make some comment, since I'm just coming in now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ali. We appreciate that point. And I will just move to Jerry. Hey, Jerry, what are your wishes for our nation? Looking at some of the things that we have raised about it. I mean, if you have other comments you want to make about the state of the nation, in the area of insecurity, infrastructure, and how I wish, the Cephas will be the one that will help us with the infrastructural part. Because he just came in recently, and Ali too, yeah, definitely. But hey, brother, what are for our nation? And brother Isaac, mentioned something. He said people may likely get high blood pressure, or there might be hypertension because of all of the things that are happening to the people who are living there. But even us that are here, we have our relations, we have our families, and so it has been a really big challenge. So hey, share with our viewers some of your desires and your prayers and your wishes for our nation.
Well, for me, I would, and I apologize, I've been driving. So, is for our young people to be proactive and be challenged to rise up to the occasion and come up with ideas that would bring us to the place of nation building and developments. And when I say that, I mean, coming up with ideas that are creative and very innovative to help them bring out the creativity that is in their inside, and not depend on government, because our government and our system has failed us. And for sure, China and other nations, I'm trying to pull over here so I can really concentrate and not go hit somebody before they ask me for insurance. For those of you who are here, you understand what I mean.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen to you, brother. Please.
So, but my desire is that our nation, and especially I would throw this challenge to our young people to really have a desire and a challenge to see that they develop themselves. And what I mean, you don't wait on the government to do everything for yourself, for you. You find yourself developing yourself in terms of, skill acquisitions or whatever you can be able to do to develop yourself. Go to school, get knowledge, seek wisdom, seek counsel from people who have done certain things, they failed and they are succeeding. Ask questions of how they were able to succeed and not depend on government to do everything for you. I'm 100% sure that, like I said in my first comment, I said it is not, prayer works, and I'm not telling you that we shouldn't pray, but it is a time for action. If we are 61 today as a nation and we're not making any progress, I want us to be like those 4 lepers. Now, and the story may not be in the same context, but let us make the desire, or let us have that desire to say, if we perish, we perish. Let us go into the enemy's camp and see if we can get food. It is high time for our young people to develop that attitude of saying to themselves that we will not depend on government to do everything for us. How can we be able to come up with ideas, ask questions, even from other people who are in different nations? How are these nations thriving? What did they do to be able to thrive? I'm pretty sure that, America was where we are today, 60 or 200 and something years ago. But how did these people come up with developments and insights that way? Even today in the US, all of us are here in the US, in different states, and we can see how much people have passion for their countries. Our leaders have failed us. There's no going back about that. We cannot be able to run away from that, as a matter of fact. But what ideas do we need to come up, especially with our young people that are back home, to be able to help them to be able to hold the bull by the horn, or take the bull by the horn and say, these are things that we can be able to do, or these are ideas that we can come up with to make sure that our nation thrives. But it is a time for action. It is not a time for us to sit back and say we want to pray. We've been praying for years, donkey years. Since I was a child, people have been praying for Nigeria to be better. I even did a song, to celebrate Nigeria at 50 when I was back home in Nigeria, and I said Nigeria go better, and it is not better. I'm not saying to you that I've given up, but I'm saying that it is time for action. So let us rise up to the occasion, and kudos to all those young people who are proactive today, who are activists and are calling a spade, and are speaking up to become voices for those who are voiceless. The world must know the challenges that our nation is facing. And then all those who are leaders who are corrupt and are bringing our nation down must be brought to book. That's all I.
Yeah, thank you so much, brother. You have touched a very critical area, because the truth is that a nation that must have a future must invest in the young people. Because they are the future of the nation, right? And so, if they don't invest in the young people, how would the future of that nation look like? And so this is true, and a lot of our Our young people are so blessed. I mean, if they go to other nations, you see the way they thrive, they flourish in other nations, right? Because other nations are supportive and recognize their abilities, and they promote it, you know. And so a lot of our young people all around the world, you know, are displaying their special giftings and abilities that is in the inside of them. But you see, the thing is that I think our leaders have to come to a point, either the leaders at the top level, you know, the executive or the judiciaries or the legislatures will have to come to a point to say, hey, let us come up with a structure that will cut across every government. Because this is what I see even in a nation like this where you guys and I are. You know, they have some structures that no any other government would just come in and collapse it. It doesn't work that way. Those modalities are put in place, those structures are there, and those structures are grounds for younger generations to thrive. And so they don't want anything to happen to those structures. And so I think we need to come up with that in our nation in such a way